Hi, I'm Sarah. And today we
And
are
I,
talking. Oh, I cut Claire off. Claire, you're. Hi, this is Claire. Let's do that
I'm
again.
Claire.
This is Claire. You guys, Claire is joining me today. We're going to talk about the Traitors, but you guys know Claire from Big Brother and most recently, winner of Amazing Race. I mean, first off, Claire,
Yes,
living your best life. Come on, right?
thriving. I'm so excited to be here, Yes, I feel
Hey,
like I have some knowledge here. Big Brother, Amazing Race, loved the Traitors, and I'm so excited to be here and chat with you today.
thank you. Thank you so much for coming on. We got the opportunity to go to a live traders event the week that's premiered. So it was like that just last week, not that long ago. You had already binged like 8 episodes. You were so into this, and Will and James were there with us. But we had all just watched like 2 episodes. So you were like, "Oh my gosh, catch up so we can talk." Now we've caught up. Now
Yes.
we can talk.
Yeah, it's about time. Yeah, I
Mhm.
think all the episodes had dropped the day that we went to the live trader event. And James had texted me jokingly, like, "Oh, are you gonna prep? Are you studying, watching the episodes?" And I was like, "No, like I'm a busy person. I have things to do today."
Sure, sure.
But then I was like, maybe I could put an episode on in the background and like kind of see what this is all about. And then I did not stop watching it until I walked in. I literally was watching episodes in my Uber to the event. I couldn't put it down. And then I got there. I was like, guys, can you believe? And everyone was like, oh, I watched like an episode. Like, it's pretty
Yeah.
good. No.
Yeah, we had
But
just started it. But
yes,
then we had
now.
play
Mhm.
it. And so the live version that we played is a little bit different because they secretly picked a traitor, obviously, out of our group. And there were 4 other people that we were playing with that we didn't know. But our traitor got to sabotage some of the games that we played. And y'all, Claire was our traitor.
It was my worst case scenario. Do you remember before we went in, we were chatting like, "Oh, would you want to be the traitor?" And I always get picked. It's something weird. Like it was like in Big Brother, I always played the veto. And like at a certain point, I was like, I don't want to play the veto anymore. It's not fun anymore. And I was like, I don't really want to be the traitor. Like it's gonna be too stressful. And then it was foisted upon me. But it was really fun. It was more of like I would almost say like a mole experience having to
Mhm.
sabotage. But did you ever catch on to me, Sarah, as the
No,
traitor? Would you
so
have been
this is the
a good
thing.
faithful?
I did not catch on to you at all. There was, well, unfortunately, there was something that made me think James was the
Mm,
traitor. And I think that that
yeah.
threw me because I had a hard time moving off of him. But
Mm.
there was a moment, you guys, when Claire and I were right next to each other putting together a puzzle. It's a literal puzzle. Pieces are everywhere, but there's 8 people around a table trying to put a puzzle together. And so it gets a little crowded and you didn't know what side the pieces go on. Y'all, we're down to one piece is missing. We can't find the last piece. We kind of step back, and of course, it's on the floor right at my feet. So everyone's like, oh my God, Sarah's the traitor. She threw a piece on the floor. Claire's literally standing right next to me, and it didn't even dawn on me that you had done that. Like,
Well, what had happened? I'd like slid a piece off the table, and then for the rest of the time, I was trying to kick the piece as far away from me as I could. But like, you can't look down there and kick a piece. And I have pretty big feet, so I was like, I'm sure I'm sending it across the room. And then we pulled back, and I'm like, let's find this missing piece. And like the 2 seconds we have left, and I look down, and I'm like, shoot, it's like right under me.
yes.
But fortunately, you really got all the blame.
I did. I don't know how. I remember looking at you and being like, oh my God, they're blaming me. But again, I'm thinking it's James and not putting it on you, even though like I should have in that moment been like, why is the piece right at our feet? This is bizarre.
Well, I think a couple of things. I think James. I played like I played different like coup type games with James many times, and I never trust him. There's something that I'm like, I know you're really, really smart. I know you're strategic. You could be lying to me and I wouldn't know. That makes me not want to trust him, which I think is an issue with these players too. But then I think we saw it in Traitors. Like, if you get your mind set on someone, no matter what other evidence might come up, it's very hard to like question your beliefs and your assumptions.
Exactly. That was my biggest flaw. But after it's revealed, like they all vote me, you guys. Everyone's like, Sarah was horrible. She kicked a piece off of the puzzle. And I was like, me? What? And then Claire's like, haha, it was me. And she's like celebrating. She's so excited. And she really did like, we just didn't see it coming. But then afterwards, I was like, wait, now, okay. Thinking back, there was one riddle section. And I remember being right there with Claire, reading these riddles and being like, what is it? What is it? And looking at Claire and being like, I thought Claire was really good at this stuff. And she was just not chiming in.
Yeah, it's hard because like, it's like the mole. How much do you want to throw people off? And
right.
But if it's an opportunity like riddles and everyone's sitting around trying to solve a riddle, I don't remember. Some of them I didn't know, and then it's easy to like sabotage, right? You just don't know it. But then a few of them, I was like, oh, I really know what this is. And it's like, you kind of like to feel like the smart person who knows answers. But it was like, yeah, okay, I gotta stand back and just be quiet here. And that I tried to sabotage a couple other things, but those are my big two moments.
Yeah, those were your shining moments. Claire, they're saying your audio is crackly again. Double check your setting again. We tried to fix this before we started, but just make sure your mic is still your AirPod.
Here, should I try? Should I try switching? Is this worse?
Though that sounds good right now. We might have to switch back and forth.
Now I'm on my iPad. I'm on my iPad, people. So I don't know the technology.
Yeah, if earlier your iPad was the crackly, but then we switched and now you're back. So we'll just see. We'll go back and forth.
My apologies.
Until we figure it out. Well, let's move on to the actual show of the Traitors. If they call you for season 2, Claire, are you going to go on?
Yeah. Why not?
Mean, you have to. Come on. You fooled me. I would love it.
I would really hope. I think playing as a traitor, we saw different people play it differently, have, stronger reactions. I feel like you gotta play as a traitor if you get the chance. I feel like that is the winning play. But oh my gosh, it would be so fun.
It would be really hard, but I think you could absolutely do it. And we saw Cirie do a masterful job this season. I mean,
Cirie, oh my gosh. What a season of TV for reality TV fans, for those of us who have been with Cirie since the very, very start in Panama, looking her, watching her be like, I'm not a bug person, crawling through the leaves, getting scared. Oh, what a triumphant season. I think, Traitors got me hooked from the beginning, but then to end in such a way.
Right.
It's so good. I don't necessarily envy anyone, though, who might be on season 2 and has to follow up Cirie's expert performance as the traitor.
That's a really good point because she just did it perfectly. So it will be hard for anybody to play season 2, I think, faithfuls and traitors. Good point, Kathy. If I didn't make it clear at the beginning of this, we are talking about the season as a whole. If you haven't finished it yet, please come back later.
Sorry if you're getting this warning now.
Yeah. I thought I made it clear, but just in case I didn't. So, okay. So yeah, I was excited first off that Cirie was cast, and then to have her chosen as a traitor, I really felt like was a gift that production was giving us. And then, I mean, she did it. She paid it off for all of us fans, like you said, who have been following her since the get-go.
Oh yeah.
All right. Anybody else that you were excited about in this cast?
I was really excited actually about a lot of this cast in terms of, you know, the reality TV half of it. I was, you know, I'm not really a Bravo fan at all, but I do know Brandy from Celebrity. So I was excited to see, you know, what can she bring? Of course, I was thrilled to see Cirie, but then Rachel Riley as well. Just seeing her in this different environment. I was curious about what we were going to get from her, but without a doubt, she's, you know, it's Rachel. Like, she's always going to entertain no matter what happens. I was kind of hoping we'd see a traitor Rachel, but I think she was probably more entertaining as a faithful this season. And then I wasn't that excited about Cody beforehand, but I really found him a intriguing traitor to have. And then I think a lot of people really grew on me who I didn't know beforehand from the reality side, or who I did not like necessarily. But then my opinions on them really shifted.
Yeah. Who was a new person that you didn't know that turned out to impress you?
I don't know about impressed, but I think Kate was like my star of the season in terms of I've never watched Below Deck. And, you know, this has made me want to go back and check her out on her seasons and see, you know, what is she like just in her day-to-day life.
Yeah, I like you. I don't know much about the Bravo people. I didn't even know Summer House was a show. So I was confused by a lot of these people and really didn't understand how they would be cast next to strategic people. But I think it turned out great. I loved seeing big personalities who didn't know what the heck they were doing mixed in with people who were strategic. I really enjoyed that. And there were some new people. Like, I mean, I kind of like Andy grew on me. You know, although she didn't end up to be great, or they, I should say, they ended up great at the show, but their social game was so great.
Oh, yeah. I really liked Andy. I mean, I really like Quentin. I feel like he really brought something very interesting. I enjoyed the balance of having Christian and having a brand new normie on the Traitors and seeing what that ended up.
Let's talk about these traitors. So Cirie, Cody, and Christian are our traitors here that we get right away. And I'm stoked about Cirie. I understand Cody because he is a strategic person. And then Christian is like, let's just throw in a new person and see how it works. Is that how you felt?
Yeah, I think their thought process was, okay, let's get Cirie. Let's give the people kind of what they want. Let's see what she can do. Now let's give her someone else, another reality person who people might suspect, but who will be able to play a very good traitor game in Cody. And then let's maybe pick who would be the worst traitor amongst the normies and just make them have to deal with this. And like, let's see the tension, let's see the clashes. You know, Christian just, I crack up thinking about like the first time he goes in with the cape to go and meet the other traitors. And he's like, would you guys have suspected me? And Cirie's like, yeah, I think I would.
And Cody's like, why are you here? Please. Oh my gosh, I wanted to murder you so bad. He was such a weak link. But it was funny to watch that he would just be sort of manipulated by Cody and Cirie, right? They sort of led those meetings between the traitors, and then he would be like, oh yeah, no, we're running it. We're so good. Like he really thought he was doing more than he was, I think.
Yeah, and you know, it's funny to think like he comes in, they basically have to like teach him like, just be quiet, don't talk, like just be normal, blend in, really show him the ropes of here's how you play these social games. And then we get about halfway through and Christian starts saying like, well, I think Cody's holding me back now. I think we might have to cut Cody. And to see this change in him throughout. And then honestly, I was very impressed. I'm curious, really. I think there's a lot we didn't see behind the scenes. But for Christian to make it so far without detection, and I don't know if that's his good gameplay, Cirie's good gameplay, or the Faithful's very bad gameplay. But
that's a very good question. Claire, I'm going to ask you to flip your mic again because your crackle is back. We're just going to flip back and forth. But while you do that, I'm going to say, yeah, like I don't understand how it took so long for Christian to actually be pinpointed and gotten basically. But I'm going to just naturally default to giving that credit to Cirie and Cody that they did some protection or some social gaming. Or maybe the Faithfuls thought Christian was so out there and wacky that he wouldn't be able to handle being a traitor. Not sure.
Yeah, all right, me neither.
Okay.
How are we?
Beautiful. We're just going to flip back and forth. Now, why was this so hard for Cody, do you think? He really starts to unravel.
He does. Two thoughts here. My first thought is I think it was very hard for him getting rid of his boys throughout the time. Getting rid of Ryan, getting rid of, I forget who else was like his good friend, if it was Bam or Michael going through. But really having to betray people. And he doesn't really, I was thinking about this, like Cody playing doesn't really have anyone he can super rely on. Because you are working against absolutely everyone else in the house. And you do have your traitors, but you can't really be seen talking to them that much, right? So like you can only talk to them in your little cabal. And even then you can't fully trust them because you don't know, will they say something that, you know, exposes me? Will they turn against me at some point? And so Cody is really in isolation. And from, you know, even just thinking about Big Brother 22, Cody does well in groups of people he feels like he can trust and that he has kind of the power over or like control over a group. And so this is such a different environment. And then part of me also thinks Cody is coming in with some baggage from Big Brother 22, right? Like All Stars. I haven't talked to a lot of the people from All Stars because I think a lot of the people are very, very plugged out of Big Brother, right? Like I think it was a very hard experience for a lot of people going in, playing with people you know, having to betray them and having to lie to people where you have actual outside of the game relationships. And so I think it was very hard for Cody to play this game again and go back through lying and betraying and manipulating people that he, you know, he has outside of the game relationships with, but he also knows how much this can impact people. And, you know, I think it's easy to just get very emotional in that. Whereas, you know, it is a game. And Rachel even was like, kept saying like, this is a game, this is a game. Like Rachel, who's always pretty emotional in these games. And I think like left pretty emotionally, but it's hard to distance those things.
Yes. And I agree. It has to be weird to like, I've hung out with these people. I know these people and now I have to play a game with them and backstab them. So we're going to kind of go through chunks of the season here. Our first 4 murders happen before we do that on trial twist. And that's Reza, Bam, Azra, and Ryan. How did you feel about Reza being first? Did any of these first four seem odd or off to you?
I think to me it made sense, right? I think Reza was an interesting first pick, but I think it makes sense when you think about the Bravo three being together. And I think me as a traitor, I want to get rid of someone that I know will be in a tight alliance. And
Mm-hmm.
just no matter what, it's kind of like the Rachel, Stephanie, Cirie of it all. Will
Mm-hmm.
not think the other people are traitors. And I think you just have to go in as soon as you see it and break that up, and just have a little bit of doubt amongst everyone else. Allow alliances to form so that you, a traitor, can uh, sneak your way in there.
Mm-hmm.
Because if there's an alliance that you're not a part of, or at least one of you traitors isn't a part of, it's going to be very bad news down the road.
Yeah, he felt like a leader. He was pretty
Mm.
bold in the way that he was speaking to the group. He could have easily sort of recruited people and had an uprising. I think he would have definitely been on my radar if I were a traitor. I wouldn't want to go against that. I'd want weaker players basically to be the faithfuls. And the rest I felt kind of made sense. I was shocked about the Ryan one. I kind of thought Ryan would be there forever. But I also do understand, especially from Cirie's point, like it was very interesting to watch her manipulate Cody in this moment, got him kind of riled up to the point that he was like, fine, do whatever you want. I don't point fingers at me. And I was like, oh my God, Cirie just like got Cody. That's impressive.
Well, I found it very impressive that she's like, we need to get Ryan out. I know this is your guy. But then there was no turnabout on that. I assumed then the next week, Cody will be like, okay, but we got to get rid of Stephanie. Like,
Yeah.
we need to get rid of one of these people that you are getting a very tight relationship with as well. And I think that's just Cirie's excellency in the game and knowing when to turn on people. I kind of forgot Ryan was there. I feel bad for some of these people that went out a little bit early. It's just a pretty big cast, and you might lose them. But then you would see Ryan at a random moment and be like, oh yeah, this guy.
Yeah, I mean, he was just there for cute moments of like, oh, it's a library. And then you hear the walk through. You're just like, oh, Ryan. But yeah, they got him out. You're right. I didn't even think about how Cody should have flipped back and been like, let's take out Stephanie. And he didn't. But I think that's because Cirie knocked him a bit off kilter where he just wasn't thinking straight. Okay, I'm going to ask you to flip your mic again.
I'm so
It's just a fun game. It's just a fun game that we've added to this stream, guys. Loving that.
Sorry.
Let's move to our first banishment. Was Geraldine. Now, I heard that Cody said in his podcast that she was a last-minute alternate. I don't know if you heard this, Claire. So I wondered. So apparently, some other guy was on the intro, was like there with them starting, and then he maybe, I think, got COVID or something, and he disappeared, and Geraldine showed up. So is that why she was banished first, or did it just feel like she wasn't defending herself? I don't know. It's always hard to banish the first time. Did you have thoughts on Geraldine?
Wow. Now that I know Geraldine is an alternate, justice for Geraldine. Let's bring her back. Let's get her on some other season. That's very interesting, actually, thinking about so they actually filmed an intro. So they had met this other person. And that is hard because as soon as you're kind of like an outsider, what's really the loyalty? I'm sure you're also questioning as the cast, like, oh, maybe they didn't like this guy because he was going to be a traitor and he wasn't like sneaky enough, and so they brought in a new person. And it would make sense if now she has to be the traitor. It's also intriguing to me. It's so hard. I think that you really do just try to find whatever you can. And I think it was her like acting shifty after they decided who it was going to be that was that deciding factor. I feel very bad for all the normies that were thrown into this game with all these reality people, because me thinking about like playing mafia games, not quite the same, but playing mafia games with a mix of reality people and like normal people, if you will. And I do think you have a huge advantage as someone who has been on like these reality shows and like lied, but also played with each other before, and thinking about tells and knowing that everyone is watching you. It's very different to have experienced it versus experiencing it for the first time. I do feel like a normie was almost guaranteed to go in this spot. But it's rough.
Right. And then, so Michael is now sort of brought into the forefront because people are not really loving his behavior. Maybe he's suspicious. We get a lot from him. That's going to last a couple episodes here, but we see Brandy banished, and then we see Michael. What were your feelings on these two?
Oh, okay. I forgot who Michael was actually until you just said that. I was like,
Southern.
Yes. My southern gentleman. You know, I think Brandy gone too soon. I'm very impressed by Brandy clocking 2 of the traitors in a very short run. Pretty blunders. How many names are you throwing around in general? And are they just pulling out the 2? But you know, even in Big Brother, she was pretty perceptive, but never had good timing. And then Michael, I think, was very good for our traitors of being someone that, you know, is so out there, so loud. I did feel very, very bad for him in the spinning wheel of death, constantly getting, you know, attacked, I guess, or like called out. But I thought he had a good attitude. I think he was a fun character. I don't want to, you know, always bring this back to me, but I was getting some Frenchy vibes from him. You know, Southern accent coming out, loving the game, playing a little too strong, a little too hard, a little too forcefully, and perhaps leaving too soon. But
yeah, I see that. I mean, I really enjoyed him in the first episode. I loved his accent. Thought, oh, what a fun character. But then once the suspicion was on him and he's sort of the center of attention, you know, he didn't really know how to handle it. That's a tough place to be in, and it wasn't gonna last long for him.
Yeah, I think there is something maybe you can do. Being a faithful is hard, right? Because on one hand, you don't want to seem so innocent that no one thinks you could be the traitor, because then you're the perfect person for the traitors to kill, because you're not benefiting them. But on the other hand, if everyone just thinks you're a traitor like Kate, you might stick around for a long time, but then
from Summer House, but I didn't know him. He's basically a newbie to me, but he turned out to be fairly smart, and he made some, you know, decent observations and made points at the round table. And I felt like his banishment was the first time that we really saw someone get targeted for playing the game, basically. But this game is built on distrust and suspicion. And so this puts the faithfuls in a position where it's like, oh, if you're trying too hard to figure out who the traitors are, I think you might be a traitor. And that's really tough.
Yeah, very much so, especially because Kyle feels like he has some information here. He saw Cody break a little bit and reveal some information. And what are you supposed to do with that? It's hard. You push too much. If you don't push at all, you're ineffective then. And it's hard as a faithful, because the only thing you have to go off of is people messing up, basically, because there's no incentive like the mole to sabotage, right? The faithful and the traitors are working towards the same goal. So you're not getting anything in the challenges. Your only way to gain information in the way this game is set up currently for the faithfuls is if a traitor messes up, which they did do. Everyone basically, other than Cirie, already sort of, and then what you do with that information, I guess, is make or break. I didn't really. I think Kyle could have done better. It is hard to know. How do you go about it, though?
Yeah, it was really tough. I'm going to ask you to flip your mic. So sorry. But yeah, like I feel like he knew he shouldn't go after Cody yet, but enough information had been out there that he had to go ahead and start. And then that's it. You're going downhill. But I enjoyed watching him sort of figuring out the game. And then unfortunately he got banished for it, but that is the game.
Very true. Very true.
That
is the Traitors.
That's the Traitors. That takes us to this on trial twist here, where the Traitors are not going to do a traditional murdering. They're going to put 3 people on trial. One of those 3 will be murdered, but it just gives us a day where these 3 people can be terrified, I guess, basically is the twist. They choose Angelica for being just the sweetest, nicest, emotional person, and Kate and Rachel because they've got a feud at this point. They're going to cause drama. I thought it was interesting they didn't throw a traitor into this mix here. What did you think about these 3 on trial?
Okay, wait, hold on. Did we miss talking about Cody leaving?
I have that next, but we can talk about it.
Perfect. No. Let's keep going. I also thought it was interesting that they did not throw a traitor into the mix. I was thinking, okay, what would I do here? Would I want to risk it potentially? Yeah, because then when you were looking at the math and it's like, okay, Kate's in here, Rachel's in here, and Angelica's in here. I, as a faithful, I feel like I would have looked at that and been like, okay, I don't think Rachel and Kate are both traitors. And they were kind of the top 2 suspects. I feel like I would have liked to have thrown 3 nothing burgers basically in there. Like, give me like Andy, give me Quentin, and give me Angelica in there. It was an interesting play, or give me like one of Rachel, one of Kate, and like cause some drama.
Yeah.
I think they're probably okay because people enough were, saying, oh, they could have thrown one in. Hard to know.
Yeah. I mean, they definitely could have. They chose not to. I don't think it really backfired on anybody. It didn't seem to be a mistake. The Kate and Rachel drama does amp up. So if that's your goal, that worked. And I feel like Angelica was going to be the easy vote out anyway at this point, and that is what they end up doing. By murdering her. It's sad, but she's really not playing the game too much, so it doesn't affect the game. But that does lead us to Cody being banished right before Angelica gets murdered on this same day. This is our first traitor that they actually get. It was, I was screaming. I was texting you. I was texting whoever I could. I was like, oh my God, they got Cody. I couldn't believe Cirie and Christian voted him out, but they did the right thing. Oh my God, talk me through your feelings on this.
I was very surprised having seen this. I think it was the right play. I think you have to give the faithful something in terms of okay, we got one. Like, we're okay. Because if they had kept, throwing out faithful after faithful, then you really just start looking at everyone. And then it's like, okay, well, what's going on here? What's going on here? And I think that throughout the entire time, whenever really Cirie would flip on a traitor, I think she did it very well so that they left with like a good taste in their mouth. No one was throwing Cirie's name out on their way out the door, which I don't really know if how much you were allowed to do there.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
but very good play. I was initially a little worried because, you know, we're only about halfway through the game and now Traitors are down in numbers. So I was like, oh, okay, like, can Cirie and can Christian actually make it all the way through, or will we get to a point where it's just like, well, we got everyone out, and we have six, you know, faithfuls left, and let's just keep targeting each other. But then very quickly we learned that some they will be replaced. But yeah,
Yeah.
Cody leaving, Cody appreciating leaving. What a show!
What a
What were your
show.
thoughts?
Yeah, it was so good. I mean, honestly, Rachel being like, okay, don't even come for me, bud. Like, I know you're the traitor. She's like, I've been trying to be nice. Basically, this whole time is what it felt like. She was like, but you're obviously acting weird. You're a traitor. And he was acting weird and he did mess it up for himself. So this whole thing was so dramatic, but it did seem like he got it and he understood that it's just part of the game, and it went, like, he wasn't backstabbed by Cirie, really. Like, she had to do what she had to do. But I was so shocked that Christian is like a part of this, that he's not the first traitor. Recognize that he's like, oh, Cody's a liability, gotta get him out. I was like, what universe are we in right now?
Yeah, I want to go and listen to Cody's recap about this, but I think that Cody had a very, very hard time. I don't think his heart was really in the game, especially at that point. And then it's like, all right, your heart's not in the game. I don't think your head's in the game either. You're going to become a liability. You already are. And I as a trader cannot I can't defend you because this will be revealed eventually. You know, I think it's impressive they made it so far without having anyone, you know, see Christian, see anyone. But yeah, sometimes you gotta cut your losses so you can grow anew.
Yes, exactly. So we can grow a new traitor. Okay, while I set us up on this next thing, Claire, please flip your mic.
Please.
This is when we're going to learn that, oh, no, we're going to go back to 3 traitors. You're not going to be without Cody for long. They get the option to invite a new traitor into their group. And I didn't love this twist at first when we're talking about it. I thought, just let them be the 2. But they do a decent job of really like, okay, who can we ask that we know is definitely going to, or more than likely going to join us, and not just say no. I was surprised that it turned out to be Ari, but it does work out for them because Ari does say yes. How do you feel about this twist?
A couple things. I feel a couple things. First off, I can't imagine saying no to this opportunity because you really are coming in at the best spot of, you've been normal for, you know, two weeks now, and people trust you for the most part. And now you get to flip. And granted, there is some fear there of, will I start acting differently? Will I be like frozen up here? But also, I'm just like a curious person. Like, I would be dying to know who are the traitors. Given the opportunity, I'd be like, yeah, I'm in. Especially once I realize, oh, they're recruiting new people. Like, maybe the odds are better in my favor here. And I think the pick of Ari, I think the pick was an interesting pick. Look, Ari was the person who I did not like before this season. I, at the time, was a big Bachelor fan in years past. I don't really watch it now. And, you know, I'm from Virginia Beach. Lauren, who Ari ended up with, also from Virginia Beach. My mom actually saw them at our gym once. Very exciting for me. But did not like Ari before this season. And I've come around on Ari big time.
Right.
He really grew on me, actually. But yeah, it's an interesting production choice, and I get why they do it. But like, oh, we're just filling in traitors. I don't know how up until what point they would do this. Like if it had been another week, would you still do
Mm-hmm.
it?
Right.
But yeah, it was interesting. Oh, Sarah, tell me, if you were on the show and you got recruited to be a traitor, would you do it?
Yeah, I mean,
like halfway through.
Yeah, I like you would not be able to say no. You know, even if I was like terrified and I was like, oh my God, this is gonna ruin my game. This is it. But I would just not be able to say no. I would have to know who the traitors are, how they're working. I would just need to see those inner workings and thoughts. And then yeah, like who was it who just in the chat brought up like if you say no, odds I think are higher that you get murdered. So I would also then think, okay,
Yeah.
I think my game is just ruined on both sides, right? I'm going to get murdered or I'm going to get caught as a traitor. Now my behavior is probably going to change, but I would just still do it and be like, I have to see this. See this.
That is very interesting. I'm laughing thinking about what is to come with Christian. And he doesn't immediately die here.
No, but we are going to go into his huge blunder. So please go ahead. Talk about how he handles this so wrong.
Poor Christian. I'd love to know the thought process here, right? Because, okay, we've recruited. Here comes Ari. I would also be interested to know if Ari beforehand was closer to Cirie or closer to Christian, because we didn't really see Ari beforehand, but it seemed like he was tight with Cirie, which again, a fantastic choice then on Cirie, who really drove this point of recruiting him and getting another number for yourself. But it's breakfast the next morning. Everyone comes down, and no one has died. You have a fantastic cover. Ari has said, guys, I had the shield. People have pointed out, oh, they must have tried to kill you. Like, guys, we beat the traitors. We did it. And here comes Christian. Poor Christian. With the, like, I was recruited, everyone. The traitors actually wanted to recruit me. We were like, immediately, like, wait, what? Like, I said no. I said no. He did not talk about this at all with Cirie or with Ari, and I'm like, what? Like, because I was kind of thinking like, oh, maybe that could be interesting if you like try to throw it out of like, hey, I got recruited or something. But I have no idea. I feel like this should have then been a plan. I have no idea what he was thinking, but it's hard. I kind of get it because I really thought like, oh, they were gonna be like, oh, Ari must have gotten the vote, but he like had the shield. And then I thought, here comes Alan Cummings to be like, someone was recruited. But that didn't even happen.
Yeah. No, I mean, this is par for the course for Christian, though, that he just, things fall out of his mouth that you just don't think he had thought about. He does say he like tossed and turned all night thinking about if he was going to do it. And it's like, no, bro. Don't toss and turn all night thinking about this without talking to Cirie first, honestly. Like she kept you in this game up until this point. You are messing your own game up.
Do you think he thought like, oh, if I do this, if I reveal this thing, then that means there's no way I could. I love as soon as he said that, no, I forget. I think it was Rachel and someone turned to each other and they're like, so he's probably lying, right? Like he like probably is the traitor then, right? Like, because it's like, yeah, why would you? If I had been recruited and I said no, I would mention it.
Right. No, absolutely. The only time you might mention it is to like your one closest ally.
Yeah,
when you're talking
just to be like, hey, I got potentially recruited. There might be more traitors in here,
right?
At some point, but
definitely not publicly to everybody.
I think there might also be something to when you're playing these games and like you're the traitor or whatever. It's fun. It's fun to lie, right? It's like Big Brother, and you get in and you want to start lying immediately. So people like lie about their jobs, right? And then you're like, oh, well, now I got to kind of lie about my job for the rest of the time. Like maybe I shouldn't be so excited to lie right away. Or like you tell like dumb little lies because you're just excited to start playing. I wonder if he was like, I thought of this move and now I can just do it. And like, I haven't really been doing much as a traitor. Like, and now I get to like really play the game. Cause like as a traitor, you obviously have to play the game, but it's not like you're like figuring anything out. You're not deducing. All you're doing is hiding. And so I think to be able to play an active role is like very enticing, especially if you're a newbie. Whereas Cirie would never be tempted by this, or Cody would never be tempted by this. It just he just got excited. I think someone at some point said he was like a golden retriever, like a golden doodle, and I think that's true. Like he was like, I get to play.
Yes, exactly. I agree with you. Please do a mic flip. But I think you're right. I think he was just like really got caught up in lying and playing the role of a traitor. And but this is going to backfire on him. This is a really dumb move. But before it does, we see a banishment of Shelby and of Rachel. And Rachel does not go down easily. This was one of the most dramatic banishments. I genuinely was watching Alan's face, just thinking, what is he thinking at the drama of this whole thing? How did you feel about this one, Rachel?
Oh, Rachel, my poor thing. Rachel was out there fighting. Rachel, who just had gone through this horrible challenge of getting bugs dumped all over her and was stone cold killer. Like, get out of the way, like sticking her head in, pulling things out. Like, this is not the Rachel of 10 years ago. This is a Rachel who is cutthroat. She always has been, but who's here to like really play, really analyze. Isn't really letting her emotions fully take over. Rachel is so much fun to watch this season. And I really, really felt for her. And it just is hard. I mean, I think all these faithfuls who got sent out, they were asked, like, make an argument. Like, how can you prove that you're a faithful? But it's very hard to like prove innocence, right? It's very easy to prove guilt. But it's very hard to say like, well, no, that's not true, actually. But I did feel like Rachel fought more than I think anyone else, right? Like you see her heartbreak of like, Cirie, like not you, like you saw her being like, you guys aren't sorry. Cause you're a little sorry. Like I'm sure Cirie like felt that, but you're not really that sorry. I think that's true for all these games, right? Like, you never care about her. Like she gets that, she knows that. But my heart did break for her of like really fighting, really pleading. But I do think if I was in there, I would really question Rachel just from like a meta game point of like, I think they would like to make her a traitor. She has done some things I'm sketched out by. It's her and Kate. You got to get rid of someone at this point.
Right. I mean, they make valid points of like, Rachel, we know you can play this game. And you say it's not personal, it's a game, which is ironic because she is one of the more dramatic, emotional people out there. And then we see it like the guard drops and like, she's like, no, I am like this. But, she's trying to play the game. They know she's capable of being a traitor. And that's just unfortunate. And I have to imagine it was cut out of the edit, but I have to imagine her and Cody both were like, look, they're good at it. They're good at, we've all played this. Like, we know, yes, we're all capable, but we're not all traitors. So,
I look, I have strong opinions about this. My poor big brother, brothers and sisters in these games. Look, I will never do the challenge in my life. I've said it many times and I'll say it again. But Big Brother players, I feel like, are constantly getting screwed over, like in the challenge, in this game. And Survivor players are sitting right there. Like, I think coming in this game, Cody, Rachel had these targets on their back because it's like, well, it's Big Brother. Like, you have to lie for 85 days, 100 days, which is true. But it's like, have you ever seen a season of Cirie's gameplay? Like, have you ever seen, like, Big Brother? It's a long game, so, like, you make friends and you have to betray, but Survivor moves so quick and you have to cut people so quickly and align and betray and align and betray, like at the flip of a dime. I really feel like Survivor is a little bit more of a cutthroat game than Big Brother is. But I think Big Brother is always getting the short end of the stick here, targets on your back.
It's true. People definitely think of Big Brother as very manipulative, but you have to be manipulative as well in Survivor. And especially if you're successful on Survivor, you have absolutely lied and, backstabbed people. So yeah, to see a separation there is really interesting. The next murder we have here is Stephanie. And I was kind of surprised that Cirie was willing to let her go, especially after just losing Rachel, because they were clearly aligned and working together.
I wish we had seen a little bit more of this. But I do think that Stephanie potentially revealing about Cirie being like, well, I know Cirie isn't the traitor because she told me she was upset that she wasn't the traitor, which I'm like, this whole conversation I am a little confused about because I'm like, well, I believe Cirie said that. Like,
oh yeah,
I feel like everyone probably felt like that, but like, oh, maybe you wouldn't say it. And then Cirie like has this whole like speech about like, I never would have said that. I never said that. And in my head, I'm like, what is Stephanie thinking? Of like, Stephanie's probably like, yes, you did. Like, you did say that. And like, we can say you didn't say that. Like, what was that conversation between Cirie and Stephanie? But I wonder if after that moment, Cirie realized, like, okay, Stephanie can't stay here because Stephanie does know I'm lying about something. And if anyone could read me, maybe it would be Stephanie. And potentially, I mean, like, looking at, like, okay, who all is left, Stephanie might be the one person that could sniff Cirie out after this. And after this, Cirie, for the most part, has people wrapped around her finger. She's keeping Kate in as a potential target. She has her fellow betrayer with Christian. I think she could have kept Stephanie, but I think that was the right play.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. And Claire, will you please flip your mic? But yeah, because even though she'd been working with Stephanie so closely up until this point, she has these loyal newbies who are probably not going to catch on to her as quickly. Like at the very last minute, Stephanie could be like, it must be Cirie. So I think she knew that deep down and, was willing to let her go. This leads us to finally, Christian is going to get banished, you guys. How did it take this long? I don't know, but I was so happy to see it finally happen.
I know. It was almost like Christian was getting thrown out as a potential, like so early on in the game. And then I think the Kate Rachel drama of it all swept everyone up. And then you're like, huh? Like, oh, he's still here. And you see him like his little like dopey edit of like putting the antlers on his head, like goofing around. And it's like, oh, that guy, yeah, he could be the traitor. I was again a little surprised here by the Christian that Cirie and Ari actually made the punch and actually did it. And I was a little bit surprised here by one of my cousins just got engaged, so my notifications are blowing up. My apologies. Yeah, congratulations to her. But that they actually pulled the trigger here and got rid of him, and poor Ari, like, writing's on the wall here for you soon. A great moment, and again, very good gameplay by Cirie, getting Christian to go out, almost blindsiding him. And so he leaves without leaving any hints, any breadcrumbs, any accusations towards Cirie, really. Not raising any red flags. What were your thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting about this one is it kind of feels pushed by Cirie and Ari, whereas like they kind of had to just go along with the Cody vote because they needed to save their butts. But this one, they were like, oh, there's a little bit of heat on Christian. Let's take this momentum and really make it happen. And yeah, he's so confident in his game. He comes to the round table like, yeah, no, it's, other people. And then they're like, or you, and he doesn't see it coming, which is just kind of his game in general. So yeah, I love to see it. We hate to see people fall, but you kind of were looking.
Look, we hate to see people fall, but we love to see people go before Cirie does.
Yes.
Like
100%. Exactly. Anything to protect Cirie. Okay, so now we're going to finally get to Kate. This is really the shield we've kept in all game, but she's got to go before the final end game. It made sense to me. She was a good shield. She was really annoying at first, but I thought it was great for the game and being able to watch someone just kind of spiral like she did.
Well, I think I loved Kate. I loved Kate as a character. I didn't love when she was like being the most mole, literally from the mole, of like throwing money away, but also like, yeah, why not? Like, who cares? Like, screw this. But then having her go, and also in the moment of Kate is finally leaving, and we also get Ari being blindsided, and Ari having no idea, and Cirie, before she goes in the room, telling Ari, like, no matter what, I'm voting with you. All that matters is we vote together and we stay loyal. And then absolutely screwing him over so that she can be the only one out of the remaining ones who has got rid of Kate, stayed loyal to Quentin, and going to the end with really these like stable players. Not that Kate was unstable, but a great moment. Poor Kate. Poor Kate, every week being like, get rid of me, kill me, please. I hate it here. I don't want to be here. Maybe a good gameplay for those future players who want to continue to play. But I think I have yet to watch. I don't know if you have. I have yet to watch other UK or Australia or like I think the Dutch version.
Right.
I don't imagine there's many other players like her.
Right. No, and I don't think she meant to be this character. I think she genuinely did want to get off. And I like when she was throwing money off, you're like, oh my God, what a bad sport. But I also am like, yeah, no, she's going to have a bad day where she's like, why am I earning money for these people who are just murdering me? I'm not winning this money. I can kind of understand how she got to that. And it was nice to see her come out of it, right? Like she starts to dial it back. By the time we have our final, is it the final 8 when they do that awful cabin challenge with the bugs? And like she's up for it. She's doing it. And the very like final challenge, she's jumping out of a helicopter, clearly not loving it, but she's up for the challenge. It was really fun to kind of see that journey.
Yeah, and see her kind of be like, maybe I can get to the end. Maybe that money could be mine. I really, really enjoyed watching her play.
Yeah, but you're right. Cirie takes the moment here to be like, I'm going to one-up you, Ari. I'm going to keep in 2 newbies who are basically wrapped around my finger. Honestly, because I think she has a long plan here that I didn't see coming. Because we get this final four standing around the fire. We're going to make a choice. Do we want to end the game now? We loving this four. We're all faithfuls. Let's do it. Let's split the money. Or do we want to do one more banishment here? And I naively am like, oh my God, this is great. Cirie has won with Ari. Wonderful. No reason to do another banishment. We know everyone is going to vote to end the game. And they do until Cirie's like, no, I'll be the last one standing, actually.
Oh my God. Okay, I have so many thoughts here.
Please.
First off, I love that you see them throw it. Like, I thought it was going to be like, oh, we just collect all the little like sacks and we'll all throw it in one. And if any red comes up, we're voting again.
Yeah.
But to be able to see who it's going to be, and we get the green, you see the last faithful throw the green, and it's like, oh, Cirie's got this. And then for Cirie to throw the red, and you realize, like, what? I was shocked. Like, I don't know why I never thought of this coming into it. But, you know, Cirie's playing her own game. You know, it's like, Cirie is playing for Cirie, which she should. She's never had this beautiful opportunity. No one's ever played the game for her. You know, like, play for yourself. Why not? Why not be the sole winner here? I was very surprised. I am very curious if her, Andy, and Quentin had talked about the possibility of Ari being the traitor. Because And I've seen the interviews now afterwards of them being like, oh, if there was a vote, we would have voted off Ari anyways.
Right.
But I don't know how much like had this been discussed because clearly Andy and Quentin felt great. They were like, yeah, all four of us, like we got out, we got out those at that point 2 traitors, and we've done it, y'all.
I don't feel like they had any heads up from Cirie because their reaction when okay, well let's back it up here a little bit because so Ari is going to sort of bow out at this moment. It felt odd that Ari bowed out, but because of what you just said, where we see that it is specifically Cirie who says we need one more banishment, like what chance does he have? He knows that he now goes head to head with her. She's going to say Ari is a traitor for whatever, blah, blah, blah. Is he going to be able to tit for tat be like, no, you're a traitor? Like, what does he say here? I don't think he's equipped for that. And he knows that. And he bows out at this point.
Yeah. And I think a couple of things. I think the fact that he was just the odd man out of the vote, out of now the 4 of them left, he was the one person who voted differently. Granted, it wasn't like they voted out a traitor here, but clearly Cirie has gained the loyalty of these 2 players. What can you say to Cirie? And honestly, you've built this friendship with Cirie. And even like during the season, he was like, I'm so glad I'm here with you. I'm so happy. Like you're the traitor and I get to keep playing with you. So I think they had a long friendship in the game. And to see like, probably he's heartbroken that Cirie did this, but also I wish I had seen him fight it out, but I also have understanding for him being like, I'm not going to drag you down with me. And I won't be like, well, actually, like, maybe everyone should look at you, Cirie. Or like, you know, like I wish we had seen that vote just because I want to see Cirie keep playing more. But I do have understanding for like Ari's point of view here. And I feel like I've like seen some interviews about like him and Cirie had talked about like, oh, what would this money mean for me? And Ari's like very, very successful, and has a lot of money. But yeah, it was, but then I don't know. I Annie and Quentin, I'm like, if you just see this person bow out who maybe you had no idea was a traitor. And Cirie seemed very confident they were a traitor. I think they've been very snowed by Cirie, but like I feel like I would have been like,
no, yeah, and that's why I feel like they didn't have a heads up from Cirie or anything, because they are so shocked that Ari is a traitor. They're so shocked that Cirie was able. They're like, Cirie did it. She snuffed out the last traitor. All hail to Cirie. They are so snowed. They are already celebrating that the three of them have won and are about to split this money. I mean, to the point that it is hard to watch. Someone gets so excited when you know they're about to learn that they did not win this money. But I had to kind of remind myself, like, not like Rachel wouldn't have responded that way. She'd have been like, good job, Cirie. You know, they just happen to be a bit more emotional players. But oh my God, this is so dramatic. Cirie is going to win. And they're going to be like, wait, what just happened?
yeah, and you can really, you see their faces fall.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, Ari revealing I was the traitor. And they're already shocked, right? But they're like, we did it. We snuck by the one person who would have held us back. We did it as a group. We did it as family. And then for Cirie to reveal herself and you see the face, horrified. You know Cirie's kind of feeling bad. How can you not? But also, like, to finally get this win, it is heartbreaking. It is exciting. I mean, like, what good gameplay. I don't doubt that, like, all is well now, but I'm sure people were very, very hurt in the moment, which is fair. Like, you played this game, think this person's your best friend, and they outmaneuvered you at the very end. It is tricky, but, like, you know, these games, you have to put your faith in someone. It just was masterful gameplay by Cirie.
Exactly.
I wish we had seen everyone else's reactions also to Cirie being the traitor.
Yeah, especially like Stephanie and Rachel, who are like swearing and knowing, I would know if it's Cirie. And no, you just got played by Cirie. Like, I would love to get their honest reaction about that. Yeah, like, it's hard to watch people lose, but this is how these games work.
Yeah.
They're all going to lose.
Yeah, like, you can't go on any of these shows thinking that you'll lose. But, like, if you do lose, it's like, yeah, the odds, you know, you have, like, whatever, 18 other people who get how you're feeling here. No matter if you're a traitor, if you're faithful, there's only one winner. But to be that close, that has to be heartbreaking.
Now, I wonder, so Cirie kind of was like, Ari just got here. He didn't play the whole time. But I don't know that I buy it was because, do you think she would have changed her behavior had it been Cody or Christian there at the end with her?
No.
Thank you.
No, she would have done this same move that had been Cody next to her, if that had been Christian next to her. I'm sure that made it a little bit easier and a little more of a justification. I'm also like, what were Andy and Quentin thinking when Cirie was like, he hasn't been playing this entire time? Like, because she said that during her speech. I'd be like, wait a second.
Wait, what?
Wait.
How do you know things that you know?
Yeah.
Tell me more, Cirie. But no.
Oh, yeah. I'm very curious at what point, this must have been what Cirie was always going to be playing for. Probably as soon as Cody was gone, if not before, but positioning herself, maybe even from when they sent Ryan out, probably from the beginning of the game. It's Cirie, you know, let's give her credit. But positioning herself so well of not only are traitors going to win, but I will be the sole winner here. It makes me very excited for future seasons of especially like Traitors US and people who watch it, of now there's like Traitors versus Faithful, but also the added complexity of Traitors versus Traitors. Can you get that soul win? Will you trust people? I'm fascinated by it because not fully knowing how Traitors worked or, you know, how it
how it was all going to go down. When I first saw there's 3 traitors, I thought, well, don't I want to be the last traitor? Do I want to share this with 3 other people? How loyal am I to the other traitors? But then, the last round, I don't know that I'd have the guts in the very last round, but it worked out.
I know, because then I would be very afraid, because I was also thinking, if I'm a faithful, and I think it's all faithfuls, do I want to still winnow it down and try to get as few people as possible? But what's to stop people from turning on me then, right? If you like go from 4 to 3, okay, well, the 2 other people might be like, well, you're really greedy, we're going to vote you out. But like,
the key is to sit there at the end with people who really trust you.
Yeah.
Even if you're faithful.
Yeah, who just would never turn against you. Oh, so good. What a rewarding season.
Right? I mean, it's so rewarding to see Claire, hi, Cirie win. Yeah. Oh, I just predicted the future, you guys. Claire is going to win season 2.
Look, I have my win in the Amazing Race. Okay? I can't get too greedy.
Okay. All right. We'll see. But yeah, it was so fulfilling to see Cirie win. But the fact that she truly played so beautifully was just, I mean, it was so fun to watch, but it was just like icing on the cake. Like, she truly deserved this win. And had she not, we would have been devastated, I think, all of us collectively.
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, imagine a world. Well, it's hard because, like, at what point, I can't even almost imagine how Cirie could lose this game. And I didn't think that. Like, I remember I was talking, I think to you guys, of like, once Cirie was picked as the traitor, I think James from the Amazing Race was like, well, I think Cirie's going to win. And I was like, Cirie has the Cirie curse. Like, Cirie doesn't win. Like, Cirie should win. And then Cirie gets screwed at like 5, at 4, at 3. And I went through this whole season totally unspoiled with like a tension of, when's it going to happen? When's a twist going to happen? They're going to get some information about the traitors. They're going to, the faithful are going to get some advantage, and Cirie's going to get screwed. And for that not to happen was very, very nice. But I almost think at a certain point, without there having been any twists, with the advantage of Ari getting added back into the game, I think at a certain point, it was very hard for Cirie to lose, especially because of how she had set up the game of like loyal people. Like, by the halfway point, it would have been very hard.
Her social game was so on point with just about everyone. And then she did a great job of getting rid of people who might challenge or question her. You did bring that up when we were talking about it, because I was like, this is it, right? This is her time to win. And you said, but she always at the end, something's going to happen. And you were like in my head the whole time I watched it, because I was like, oh God, when is it going to be? Like, when is it at the last minute? What's going to happen to Cirie? So glad it didn't happen.
Which might be like a good way to watch this, of like, because otherwise, like, Derek hasn't watched the show, but I was talking to him about it, and he's been spoiled, unfortunately for me. But he was like, I feel like traitors would always win this. Like, how are traitors ever going to lose? And I was like, yeah, but if you have the fear of the Cirie curse, like, anything could happen.
Yeah. I did ask, I have a Discord with my patrons, and they have watched the UK and US and the other versions. And they did say, without spoiling, there are other seasons where faithfuls do win. So it is possible. And I believe they say the UK is the best, but they also do love Australia. So whoever's interested, I believe Daily Motion's got some video links out there and stuff if you want to watch these other seasons. Apparently they're all good. So I'm excited. Loved this season. Love season 2. Hopefully we have some more people that we're excited to watch for season 2 get into the cast kind of vibe.
Well, let me ask you this, Sarah, because this is the only, I did a little bit of research in the other seasons. This is the only one with a half and half cast, right? I think I saw somewhere that the Dutch version has like some celebrities, but not necessarily reality TV people. What would be more interesting to you? Like an all reality people, all newbies, or the half and half?
I mean, I liked the half and half. I think that I feel like this is true for all of the shows that we watch, Survivor, Big Brother. Like there needs to be a mix of people who want to game. Even if they're all newbies, they want to game. They are strategic, like the Claires of the world, and they mix them in with the people who want to just lounge at the pool or want to up their Instagram, because you need those followers. You need strategic people to have people to follow them and be loyal to them. So when I saw that it was like half and half, that's fine. That makes sense. And like Cirie took advantage of that. Let me scoop up these people who are just going to follow me and be loyal to me. But to be fair, the Bravos of the world are also going to do that. So if you gave me all celebrity or all reality people, a mix is still going to work for me. So I'm up for either way.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, I was thinking.
Do you have an opinion? How do you feel?
I think you got to go all one way or all the other way. Partially because I do not remember half of the new to me people, which I think is unfortunate, because I'm sure there are some great characters in there, but you're so tied to people that you have ties to. But one thing, as we were talking, I was thinking about of like the game players first, I really appreciated that they sort of only had 4 people from Survivor, Big Brother world of like the reality people, and then 4 not that at all. We got Bravo, we got The Bachelor, and then we have like 8 newbies. So it wasn't like the strategy, knowing each other, totally dominated the game. I think I would be like, look, I would love to do the show, obviously, but I would be nervous, like as someone entering the game, if there are a lot of pre-built relationships. I think that can cause an interesting dynamic, but it can also cause like whatever, like pre-gaming, like something like Big Brother All-Stars, where like things are already set in motion. Which would make me nervous as a viewer. So I liked the randomness, or I guess like unplanability of like Bravo, Bachelor, like Summer House, which I've never seen that. But
what is that?
But I have heard the all newbie seasons are very interesting and very dynamic on their own. So
I would imagine that makes sense. Like, I mean, it's like a Big Brother. Like we're going to get people of all. I feel like anytime, like the challenge is an example of like these people hang out together. They all do. And there's always going to be a bit of pre-gaming, even when it's not like exact pre-gaming, like I am going to be aligned with you. It's just like, oh, I've partied with you several times. I feel comfortable with you. You automatically are going to work together. We kind of get that. So yeah, like you're saying, just a couple Big Brother, just a couple Bravo, like, so it's not a huge alliance working together. It's not all the Big Brother players like Derek did on the challenge. Like that was a huge group. Like that was crazy. Mix it up a little bit to give everyone a little chance. Yeah. All right. Well, this has been wonderful. We obviously are gushing and loving it. Any final thoughts here, Claire? Was there like a challenge that you loved or wanted to do?
Look, the challenges I was not a fan of. I watched one episode of the UK and I was like, wait, the challenges are the exact same. Literally a 1-for-1. Because I think they filmed the UK after US, but in the same house. So very similar. But I think the bug one was the most interesting to me. Like just in terms of horror, and the mice, the mice, who cares about that? The poor people with the bugs pouring down. I think as soon as Cirie was on the cast, they were like, well, I have a very fun challenge that we can force her to do. I like that. I liked the wheel where you're like having to say what you actually think about people. Like, we got some fun moments. I feel like the barrel, almost despite the challenges. But I would have liked like some more, I don't know, almost like competition of like where you might get tension of like two teams actually going like head for head for some sort of like power. Because otherwise it was like they would split people up, but it didn't really matter. And I'm like, why are we splitting people up into teams? I don't know. I found the challenges like the least exciting part of the show because they kept selling it like, well, if you're bad at a challenge, maybe the traitors will want to vote you out. And we just never saw that. And so that was not compelling to me.
Yeah, agreed. The challenges were definitely the weakest link of the season. There were a couple fun moments that came out of it. I did love jumping out of a helicopter. Hated being buried alive. Like, no, thank you. But yeah, for the most part, I mean, there were like a few challenges where they had that shield you could win going into the armory. Like, yes, okay, if you give me some moments like that where somebody's going to get something useful out of this, or a consequence, like make it a game concerning issue is going to happen, then maybe. But they didn't do enough of that this season.
Well, yeah, let's talk about the shield for a moment. The least important thing, Ari, the shield magnet out here getting it 3 times, never came into play. I don't think the shield even ever affected the traitors' decisions.
Nope.
What a blown opportunity. I would really like, okay, if you do the best in the challenge, we'll give you the shield, or maybe you guys can vote, like you name it, or like secretly who gets the shield. I would have liked like some more strategy when it came to the shield itself. And then, I want the challenges to mean something. I want the challenges to like reveal some sort of information. Like maybe if you win a challenge, you get like sole information about one of the traitors or something. And so then like, oh, are you lying? Are you telling the truth? And like, it doesn't even be like super obvious. Like I feel like kind of like snake in the grass was sometimes like good obvious, sometimes a little like, ooh, throwing you off. But yeah, I would like the challenges to have a little bit more meaning and purpose.
Yeah. I mean, first off, what is going on with Ari that he's so lucky he gets all 3 shields? Like, no wonder he's rich. Like, things must fall into place for him. I don't know. That was pretty amazing. But yeah, you're right. Like the traitors didn't even seem to be too worried. They were like, well, we could murder this person and they have the shield, but like, who cares? Let's go for it. They didn't seem to be so concerned. So yeah, maybe next season though, with a totally different cast, we might see it play out differently.
Well, it's like there wasn't even a negative repercussion if you try to kill someone that had a shield. Like it wasn't like, oh, if you like, they just won't die, which is an added person. But I guess maybe in another season this actually play out. You see what happens if it's an alert, like you're notified, like they tried to kill this person, kind of like mafia. And so then that person is good and like, okay, maybe let's try to protect them. Great, I think you would just die the next time. But it was, I don't know, it was a missed opportunity. I'm excited to see how they iterate and change this, especially because the game will just play differently the second time you play it through. Now that potential faithfuls would have some knowledge about how the traitor mechanism works of like, oh, traitors might actually want to target other traitors. We can't just trust votes. It's interesting.
Yeah. Well, Claire, thank you so much for coming on. I hope you'll come back and talk about Survivor or any other show you want to talk about. Well, we do them all over here.
Yeah.
So yay. Thank you so much for coming on. Is there anything you want to tell people to watch and look out? I mean, are you and Derek still doing vlogs and stuff?
Yes, we are still doing vlogs. I think they're coming out at slightly slower rate, but we will have a packing what we pack, how we pack vlog coming out soon. So follow Derek's YouTube channel, even mine, or follow me on social media. Mainly Instagram nowadays. I don't really use Twitter that much. I don't know. Or TikTok, really. But yeah, follow me, stay tuned. I'll keep talking about reality shows and having a good time.
Yay! Thank you to everyone who joined us live in the chat. We really appreciate you chiming in there. And if anyone is joining later, please leave a comment. Let us know how you felt about this season, how much you love Claire, how much you love Cirie. Give us all that stuff.
Yeah, complain about my audio in the comments.
We had a
my
fun
apologies.
Game. Yeah. All good. All right, you guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye.